At one point, it looked like the Amazon experiment with Phoebe Waller-Bridge running the Tomb Raider reboot was going to come to an end. Then it had all just fallen apart, that it wasn't going to happen. Unfortunately, that rumor, that report, it didn't last very long. It came from the Daily Mail, and they said there's just been so many problems behind the scenes. It looks like it might be dead in the water. Well, apparently, they revived it, because it is still happening. It is still Phoebe Waller-Bridge. And just like so many people suggested, especially after some training photos with Sophie Turner came out, Sophie Turner is the new Lara Croft in Tomb Raider. Sophie Turner, confirmed as Lara Croft as Prime Video's Tomb Raider, sets production start date. Chad Hodge is joining creator Phoebe Waller-Bridge as co-showrunner. And look, in terms of adapting for the new version of Tomb Raider, like if you want to replicate the last couple of video games that have come out, Sophie Turner might be a fine candidate. And one thing I guess you can say is she obviously did take the training very seriously. She showed off these pictures of her getting ripped, not that long ago. But this is also a different Tomb Raider than the Tomb Raider of old. A different Tomb Raider than the one that, built a big, huge fan base, that built this franchise. Then they decided they wanted to change it. They wanted to make her tits smaller. They wanted to make her more about protecting all of these artifacts instead of, raiding fucking tombs. A lot of people have had problems with the direction Tomb Raider has gone, both in the video games and when it comes to the movie adaptation that they did not all that long ago. But the biggest problem is Phoebe Waller-Bridge, right? Tomb Raider, I don't care how many of these stupid fucking people out there try to argue. Tomb Raider, although you play as a female character, I know it's shocking, this action-adventure franchise, what it's turned into, it's played mostly by men. It is a male-dominated fan base, both in the video games and the people that showed up to watch Angelina Jolie in the movies. It is male-dominated. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is not someone that makes movies for men, or at least not ones that are any good. Phoebe Waller-Bridge signed this big, huge deal with Amazon after her show Fleabag went on to be, fairly successful. But then she did things like, get involved with the last James Bond movie. Why? So they could write James Bond differently for the Me Too era. Phoebe Waller-Bridge, James Bond is absolutely relevant now, but the film has to treat women properly. And this is not her in a creative capacity, but just when she was involved with, say, Indiana Jones, we saw how all that worked in Dial of Destiny. So handing over what is a male-dominated franchise, and I don't care how many people want to argue or try to argue about that. And if you want to say maybe more women are fans than the generic action-adventure fucking franchise, maybe that's the case. Maybe you can say more women are fans, but it's a male-dominated player base, a male-dominated fan base. It's one of the reasons they started criticizing them when they started to try to change things about Lara Croft for one reason or another. And so Sophie Turner, I got nothing against her or anything, and maybe she will be fine for this new age adaptation to replicate what you see in the video games now, which is obviously different proportions, stuff like that. However, the recent adaptations of Tomb Raider, it's not what people really want. It's not what people really like. They wish they'd get back to basics. They wish they'd go back to a previous time in its history. I don't think there's any chance of that, especially not with this woman in charge.